Am I the asshole for correcting my daughter's camp counselor?
I, 35, M. Have a daughter, 7, F, who has recently been attending an animal-themed summer camp during the day. She's obsessed with animals, so honestly it seemed like a great fit. I usually drop her off in the morning and pick her up in the afternoon, so I am familiar with her camp counselor, group leader.
Group leader, 30, S.
M. Seemed like a chill guy and my kid seems to like him, though today when I picked her up he asked if he could pull us aside to chat. When I asked what this was about, he said that my daughter was very disrespectful to him today, and that he couldn't have her attitude again. When I asked him what happened, he said that they were discussing sea creatures today, and he referred to octopus as a fish, which my daughter corrected him as they are mollusks.
He tried to tell her that she was wrong, but she politely corrected him again, his own words. I told him that if she just corrected him politely, then I didn't really understand the problem, but I would speak to her.
He then explained that octopus were fish, and that my daughter shouldn't be spreading information she doesn't understand.
I told him that my daughter was correct. Octopus are mollusks, even pulled up a bunch of links from Google to show him.
His response was to get angry and tell me that he sees where my daughter gets the attitude from, and that she was wrong for correcting him, and that I was wrong for backing her up and usurping his authority. I explained that correcting someone isn't usurping authority. Being corrected is sometimes just a learning experience, one that I've experienced often, and that I wasn't going to reprimand my daughter for trying to politely correct him. He told me that I didn't understand how difficult his job was, and that sometimes he just needed a parent's support, regardless of their beliefs, and stormed off. My daughter asked if she was in trouble and I said no, of course, but I am questioning as to whether I should send her back to this camp given the behavior of her counselor. That being said, I wondered if I should have just told my daughter that sometimes it's best to let things go, even if people are wrong.
Too long did not read. Daughter's counselor claims that octopus are fish. They are not. My daughter corrects him in that they are mollusks. He asks me to tell her not to correct him even if he is wrong. I tell him not unless she is being impolite, incorrect. He gets angry and storms off. I am not reprimanding my daughter. Am I the asshole?
Edit. Thank you all for the responses. I did not send my daughter to camp today and have reached out to the head counselor to ask for a meeting.
Will update after out discussion. Edit 2. I have an update. Just waiting for this to fall off the main page to give said update.
Thank you all for the kind words and encouragement.
Not the asshole.
Might want to bring up the fact that this educational staff member is presenting incorrect information as part of his lessons to his supervisors.
Not the asshole.
This counselor is too fragile for his job, and I would not trust him to be kind to your daughter after this.
He's resentful and he'll be in a position to make her feel bad. I'd tell whoever runs the program exactly what you said here. Take her out and get my money back.
Your daughter won't be the only kid this counselor runs into who knows more than he does and innocently corrects him over it.
Good grief. Not the asshole. Good job for having your daughter's back.
And raising such a bright child.
Is there a boss of his you can talk to? Not the asshole, and please, keep having your daughter's back and maybe talk to the counselor's boss.
Girls any age are so often told to be quiet, they have no idea what they are talking about, are having an attitude, and get their spirits crushed.
I remember it clear as the day how often I was told to stop talking about animal stuff and facts because I already loved the read as a kid. I stopped talking about it at some point and became silent about my passions, and even now, at 37, it's sometimes hard to share my passions. Put the counselor in his place and your daughter an octopus t-shirt, carrot, carrot. If this is an education experience, camp especially, you need to talk to his boss. The dude was wrong. He couldn't admit it. He doubled down by asking you to scold your daughter for being right? This is insane. He cannot be telling kids that they must put up with wrong information, and correcting someone because they are older or in a position of authority is wrong even done politely. What if he was to tell a kid a shellfish isn't a shellfish and they are allergic but eat it cause he is the teacher and knows? You are not the asshole, but this guy is a complete wanker. Not the asshole. Octopuses are mollusks. I learned something new. Am I the asshole for making my family cancel their vacation because I won't watch their dogs? My parents, 82M, 75F, asked if I would help them book a much-needed vacation.
They also asked me to do the same for my brother, 43, and sister-in-law, 33, because they wanted to take a family vacation in September. My husband, 46, and I, 41F, can't afford to go because I am currently out of a job.
Even though this would be the first family vacation I will have ever missed and it made me really sad, I said I would of course help.
My mom even mentioned to me that in a way it's good because I'd be able to watch my brother's pugs and my parents' chihuahua.
Here's the thing about watching the dogs. It's a 24/7 job that requires me to stay at my brother's house.
The dogs are wonderful, but very high maintenance. Because of this, I have been telling my brother for nearly 10 years that he needed to hire a dog sitter. Money isn't an issue for him. I've dog sat for them 3 times this past year, varying from 1 to 5 nights. They paid me well. But I do not feel comfortable staying at their house and I find the round-the-clock care exhausting. My husband and I have 5 cats, and we are no stranger to feeling like our pets are our kids, but we don't have dogs for a reason. Now, I'm supposed to be booking this trip for my brother, but he hasn't even asked me about watching the dogs. Sunday at family dinner, everyone is there except my sister-in-law who is ill. My brother was sitting across from me, so I reach out to hold his hand and say that I love him, I love the pugs, but I can't watch them when they go on vacation and that he needs to get a dog sitter. I said it was just too much to ask me to be trapped at their house for 7 nights, and that I have been asking him to hire a dog sitter for nearly a decade. I even offer suggestions and said I'll help find someone. He starts to get reactive and says that they won't watch my cats anymore. I said that's fine. We have a cat sitter, but I point out that I asked them if they can help. They, on the other hand, didn't ask me. My brother finally concedes that it is a lot to ask 7 nights and 5 dogs. Excuse me? Yes, 5 dogs, because his mother-in-law apparently was planning to go too. So now added to the mix are 2 Italian greyhounds. I stay calm and gently point out that I felt this way before knowing there were 5 dogs. Can he imagine how I felt? He seemed to understand. By the time I left dinner, there were hugs and kisses and all was well. I knew my brother was upset, but he seemed to understand and I was really proud of putting up boundaries. The next evening, I call my parents to see if they have heard from my brother. Apparently he called them after he got home from family dinner and was blindsided by me. My sister-in-law was just as upset as him too. They think I'm throwing a tantrum because I can't go on the vacation. While yes, that sucks, I told him my real issue is being trapped at their house for 7 nights. Now they are canceling the vacation because I won't watch the dogs. Am I the asshole for telling them I won't do it? Not the asshole. They are grown people who had plenty of time to find arrangements for their dogs. Didn't they have somebody else to watch the dogs when you all traveled together? Is this a weird ploy to punish you by making you feel guilty or something? Seems reactive. Not the asshole. They can hire a pet sitter. It's not your household to take responsibility for. Edit. I also don't understand why they needed your help to book it. Now they are canceling the vacation because I won't watch the dogs. Good. If they can't afford a pet sitter, then they can't afford the vacay. This is not your problem. Not the asshole. So if I understand you first, they ask your help in planning a vacation knowing that you can't go along. Then, your mom volunteers you that you're watching your brother's dogs. Your brother, who hasn't even asked you yet, is blindsided that you won't watch the dogs for them without even letting you know that there would be 2 additional dogs involved? Blindsided is you telling them this the day before they leave on vacation. You're telling them 2 months in advance and offering to help them locate a dog sitter. Absolutely not the asshole. 1. You didn't make anyone cancel anything. 2. Incredibly, maybe deliberately, inconsiderate of your family to expect you to act as their unpaid travel agent. 3. 5 dogs? That's not dog sitting. That's running a kennel. 4. I assume that they'd save a ton of money by guilting you into caring for the dogs, and they don't want to, or can't afford to, pay what it's really worth. 5. Enjoy their self-inflicted tears. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. As a couple with 5 dogs, we understand that we simply aren't going on vacation unless they go with us. I would never just expect that someone will give up their life for a week to deal with them. By the way, we have 2 Italian greyhounds and they alone are like dealing with 6 normal dogs, so adding them to the mix should be an absolute deal breaker. Grimace.
Am I the asshole for calling out the hypocrisy of an alpha bro?
This one guy in my friend group, all early 20s mixed guy and girl, 7 in total, only good friends with 4 of them, has been consuming some alpha bro content that has severely changed his personality and entitlement towards women.
He mentioned that this one girl he has been talking to for some time turned him down when he hit on her. She said he wasn't her usual type but he was nice blah blah. He was pretty bummed out and we all tried to console him the best way we could.
That was until he said, in 20 years when no one wants her, she will regret turning me down.
Me and the other girls were taken aback by this. I should have kept my trap shut but I said, it's completely fine to turn down someone you aren't attracted to. Just like how you would have not asked her out if you weren't attracted to her. He was fuming and got up and left, the guys went with him. This happened yesterday and he blocked me.
The girls support me but the guys aren't saying anything.
I do think I should have said this later and not when he was actively hurting from the rejection. Am I the asshole? Edit. He actually blocked everyone, including the guys.
So I think he just wants some time alone.
The guys said they left to calm him down. Edit 2. I ran into him and we had a convo. We all live in the same dorm building for the summer.
He agrees he is a man-child but doesn't regret and stands by what he said. He apparently doesn't watch, agree, W. Andrew TTE.
This is his own thoughts. I am confused because his attitude switched about a year ago and now he says it's not because of any influence. Should I be more concerned?
We have been friends for 6 years now. This dude was a D&D player and anime nerd who just got buff.
Not the asshole. Always call out the hypocrisy, if safe to do so. I have had some similar situations recently.
First off, the guys who don't say anything, and don't hold their friend accountable, are shitty. Neutrality is complicity. If you have one guy who is a misogynist, bad guy, and 5 nice guys who don't speak up against his shitty behavior toward women, you have 6 bad guys. Second, this guy's behavior is worrying mainly because it will most likely escalate. The more women he ostracizes through his alpha male misogyny, the less he has in his life to care about, othering women to him.
No, you're not the asshole. He needed to hear that. Better to nip that toxic attitude in the bud now. Not the asshole, you said it at perfect time. Gross thing for him to say and he needs to grow up. Not the asshole. $10 that dude watched Andrew Tate, and 99% of young men who watch that dude do not end up a better person afterwards. Not the asshole. In 20 years, that girl won't even be thinking about him. She wouldn't remember his face if she saw him standing right in front of her. He needed that ego check, and it was aligned for you to give it to him.
Let him block you and ignore you. Sounds like he's doing you a favor. You don't need that toxic bullshit around you.
Not the asshole.
He needed to hear the truth, and by calling him out in front of the others, he'll remember it more. If you keep quiet with statements like that, then they'll just get worse and worse. He needs to learn that some of his friends aren't going to put up with it and hopefully he'll see how stupid he's being.
Am I the asshole for refusing to give up my inheritance? About my situation.
Family, members. Father M60, stepmom, dad's wife of 1 year, 6 months after the jackpot, F55, her 2 adult daughters, mid-30s, and my brother M25.
Brother grew up with dad. I grew up with our BPD, as in borderline personality disorder, mother. My parents split when I was 3, so I have no memory of that time or prior.
We're all working class. Dad and I had started building a relationship in the past 4 years or so, talking at least every other week and meeting up sometimes.
Triggering event. Father winning over 10 millions on a fucking lottery. Request. For me to sign away future inheritance. Made by stepmother and brother. Conflict. I don't want to. The reason I think maybe I should. My brother does have a point when he says that this man was no father to me, and I was no daughter to him. The same reason is my main reason why I actually should keep my future inheritance.
It's not like you get a new dad just because the first one walks out, and if anything I think maybe I deserve more than my brother since at least he got the less shitshowy parent even if he was unavailable. So, around a year ago my dad, who I barely know, won a lot of money. I mean a totally life-changing amount. His then girlfriend became his wife, they bought a few properties, went on vacations and invested some.
All good, right?
Not really, since we live in a country where you cannot write your children out of your will.
None of the above-mentioned people has paid much attention to me over the years, until now that is. At first I was so happy for Dad since I did know he has struggled in the past.
I was close with my paternal grandmother and her main caregiver, live-in, 2 out of her 5 last years in life, so she did tell me a lot about him and his life. I always wondered, so I asked my questions. I didn't mean to be nosy or anything.
I just wanted to know how everything had been since he left Mom, as I grew to understand that borderline women are not for everyone. I did not blame him very much after my childhood with Mom.
Anyway, a couple weeks ago my stepmother accused me of only being interested in my dad due to him winning the lottery. And once I rejected that accusation, she asked me to prove it by officially giving up my future inheritance. Children are entitled to sharing 50% of what would be left. So in my case with one sibling, that's 25% of his wealth.
She offered to pay for the legal assistance in this.
My brother added in, basically claiming I have no right to anything as my mother's kid and that I'm not my dad's daughter in any important sense, so I shouldn't inherit.
Today my stepmother's oldest texted me asking if I had made up my mind. I told her yes, and that I will keep any rights to future inheritances. She called me an asshole for not seeing their take. She told me she'll call my brother and to expect follow-up later today. So, am I an asshole here? Maybe I'm too in it to see it myself.
Not really, since we live in a country where you cannot write your children out of your will.
Simple. You're not the asshole, here. You legally are entitled to some of that money as a child of said now wealthy parent.
Do not sign that away. If the rest of the family can't accept that you're going to get a percentage of that money, tell them, tough shit, chew harder.
And collect that money when it is handed down to you. Not the asshole.
1. Talk to your dad. Tell him what his wife and your brother are requesting.
2. Never ever sign away your right. Never. Is it legally their money?
No? Then they cannot tell you what you can and cannot do with it. Do not, and I cannot stress this enough, do not give them a penny of your money.
Not the asshole. Not the asshole.
The same could be said of your stepmom, that she suddenly marries this man who won the lottery. More so, they are showing their greed.
$10 million is a lot of money, even subdivided. What do they need, all this inherited money for, once your dad passes? Your dad should watch his back. She became a stepmother a moment after he won the lottery. It sounds like she is fully capable of spending it all before inheritance becomes an issue anyhow. Not the asshole. Not the asshole.
The way they are spending money so fast, there is no way there will be inheritance anyways. Most lotto winners go bankrupt.